video, and today's video is going to be my journey to my dream car, which is this Scat Pack. So it started back in 2011 in January when I got my permit, and I had my permit for about a month, and then my mom went and got me a 1994 Ford Explorer. Now it is the police. Now my dad had this Jeep Cherokee, and I had drove that for a few times, and I really liked it. So I said I wanted a truck. That was Sunday. So when I got home from school Monday, my mom said, let's go look at trucks over there. So when I came home from school about that Wednesday, she had a truck in the yard, and I didn't know that it was mine. I thought it was my cousin's truck or something. And I just kept looking at it, and I realized it didn't have no tags. I said, this must be my truck. Like, I was excited and everything. And this was February the 1st when she got me the truck. So I drove until October 2011 when I got my license. And then a week later, I celebrated my birthday. I got my license on one Friday. The next Friday, I celebrated my birthday. I turned 19. So I drove that truck from 2011 until 2016. So what happened was I started having truck issues. And I started having truck issues really in 2015 when my grandma was sick and she was in the hospital. I had trouble with it all the time. Like when I was trying to go see my grandma in the hospital, I would have trouble with it all the time. So later on, when she had actually passed, January 2015, I started having troubles with it. I just started having trouble with the truck. So one day, I started having trouble again. And I said I was start looking for me another car. So I went through CarMax. Well, I went through State Employees Credit Union for my loan, and they gave me a $10,000 loan. And I was gonna look for another car. So I tried CarMax because they had this Ford Fusion that I wanted for like $8,000. So by the time I went there, they jacked this car up to $13,000 with the CarMax fees and all that. So I went at like 5 o'clock, so therefore they couldn't call the bank, they couldn't up my loan or whatever. So I went home, I was sad, I couldn't get my car, it was red and everything. So later on, I went back to the bank to try to tell them to up the loan. I told them what they told me. They said that they would, make up for the difference or whatever. So I went back to the bank, and they said that they could not up the loan, and they would only give me the $10,000. They called CarMax, and the guy said I tried to get in touch with him. We went ahead and sold the car, but we can get you another car for the same price range. He offered me a $16,000 car, and that's before the fees or whatever. I'm just like, how is that car the same price when it's $16,000? And when he pulled it up, the car only valued about $9,000-$10,000. I said, no, I'm done with CarMax. And at this time, I was looking for a Challenger, because back in 2011, my aunt had rented a 2011 Dodge Charger for her wedding instead of getting a limo. So when I drove there, I instantly said, I don't care, I want me a Charger. Ever since then, my dream car was a Charger. But after the police got them, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna switch to Challengers. So I went looking for a Challenger. I ain't have enough credit, they ain't give me enough on my loan. So I went back home that day. I was determined. I went back home, I picked my uncle up. I said, you wanna go with me car shopping? He said, yeah, we hit the road. So the first place I went to ain't had this, and they had these little girly cars out there. I ain't want none of them. And my uncle was like, well, you get what you can get. I'm like, I'm not driving no girly car that I don't want. You gonna wanna like what you pay for. You don't wanna pay $10,000 for a car that you don't want, and every day you be driving the car like, I really hate this car, but I'm paying $10,000 for this car. So I went to another place that didn't have nothing, and then second of all, the person didn't even come outside to help anybody. I went to Honda of Running Rapids, and when I went there, I just walked in straight to the door. I seen a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook, but we don't know each other, but we friends on Facebook. I walked in, I said, what you got for 10 stacks? He said, we got a PT Cruiser, a 2010 Chevy Malibu, and a 2010 Altima. I said, you already know that the PT Cruiser is out the question. I do not want no PT Cruiser. So he showed me the Chevy Malibu. I said, the car was alright, but it was scratched up and I didn't have enough leg room in there. So when I got in the Altima, he showed me the Altima next. I got into the Altima and it just felt right. He said press the brakes and hit that button. I said, oh yeah, it's push button start. I liked it. He said leave your foot on the brake, but put it in reverse and look at your dashboard. I put it in reverse. I looked at the dashboard and it had that backup camera. I said, this is it right here. This is it. Drove the car home. I was so happy you couldn't tell me nothing. I got me a brand new car. Well, it was new to me. It was 2016, so the car was about 6 years old. But to me, that was a brand new car. It only had 106,000 miles on there. And when my granddad said that car just broke in, that's a good deal. So I drove that car from 2016 to 2019. So I started hearing a ticking noise in the car. I don't know what the problem was. I plugged the OBD meter up to it and it gave me, the only code it gave me was my brakes and my tire pressure. I changed the brakes, fixed the tire pressure. It didn't give me no more codes or whatever. So all of a sudden one day the car acted like it didn't want to take off. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. I drove the car for maybe about a week. Like the energy kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like me and my mom was at Dairy Queen in Round Rapids, and I went to pull off, and it acted like it didn't want to pull off. So I said, I don't know what's wrong with it. So later on, that was Saturday. Yeah, that was that Saturday. So Sunday night when I went to work, it was doing it just a little bit. I left work that Monday morning, and it was doing the same thing. It just got a little bit worse, a little bit worse. By Tuesday, it did not want to work at all. I went to work that Monday night, got up that Tuesday morning, it was doing it real bad. So actually what happened was, me and my homeboys, we was at the front. I was parked around front and they parked around back. So when it's time to go, they was like, just drive us around back. So I was like, maybe they get in the car, maybe they can tell me something. No good. So I left that morning, and when I got to my second stoplight, it did not want to take off at all. Like it just sit there. It took, the light turned green, and I pressed the gas down. It did not get across the street until that light turned red, and then other cars had to wait for me to finish crossing the road for them to pass. So after that, I just drove a little slow. I couldn't help but drive slow because it wouldn't go past 45 miles an hour. So I had to drive slow. I drove a little slower, so when I get to the light, when the light changed, it would be green when I get there. So I wouldn't have to stop nowhere. And I, didn't stop at no stop sign. So there's only one stop sign. So I ain't stopped there, so I can go ahead and make it home safe. So I plugged the OBD meter up to it again, and it threw me a code. So I looked the code up. It said the transmission not good. And I took it to a shop. The guy said, yeah, basically your transmission is going. You can either rebuild it or buy a new one. So he quoted me a price. It was like $1,500. So I was like, all right. I went home. I went on my bank app and took out a loan for $1,500, and they sent it to me the next day. So I was driving my mama's car at this point because my car, it was undrivable. And the next day I said, all right, I got the $1,500. He was like, oh, I looked up the transmission. I just gave you a number. It's gonna be about $2,500. So I went back home, increased the loan. They sent me another check the next day. I got the check the next day, went to the shop. He said it's gonna be probably like $3,000. I said at this point I only owe $2,100 on the car. I am not about to pay $3,000 to get a transmission fixed when I could just pay the car off with that loan and just go buy another one. So this is day 3 without my car. And even though I'm driving my mom's car, it still don't feel good driving somebody else's car.
Take the exit.
You want your own car. So day 4, I get my last check from the bank with the loan, and I take it to the credit union and I go pay my car off. So I told my mom, be ready when she come home because I'm going to go buy me a new car today. And she was like, all right. So I went to the bank that morning, paid the loan off, and I had some money left over. So what I did was I went to Navy Federal and I put the money that I didn't use back on a loan. So that was like $600, $700 that was left over. So I paid the loan off. Well, I didn't pay the loan off. I paid $600 of the loan off. We went to the Dodge dealership, and I went in, it was all love up in there. Like, it was a good feeling. I went to Rocky Mount Dodge. I was gonna go back to Honda because once I start with somebody, I like to stick with that person. Like, if I find a product that works for me, I stick with them. Like, whatever I start with, I stick with. So I looked at Honda, and they only had one Challenger. So when I looked at Rocky Mount Dodge, they had two options. They had two different Challengers I was looking at. So I said, I'm gonna start there, and since I got two options, and if it don't even work there, then I'm gonna go to Honda. So I went there, and about 6 hours later, I had my car. I already knew it took all day to buy a car. When I got my Altima from Honda, it took me all day to get a car. It took me like 4 hours. But when I got that new car, it took them about 6 hours. So I drove that car from September 2019 until March 2021. And how I even got my car was, when I woke up in the morning, I didn't know I was going to Rocky Mount Dodge that day. I didn't even know I was even going that way. What happened was, my wife was having car troubles, and she was going to trade her car in and get another one. She loves Hyundai, so we went to Hyundai, and they wasn't talking the right numbers for her. So me being curious, I said, let me go see what Rocky Mount Dodge can do for me. So we went home and got my car and went back, and they didn't have the V8 that I wanted. I wanted just a regular base RT. I wasn't planning on getting a Scat Pack, even though the Scat Pack was my dream. He had me test drive a V8 Challenger, the base RT, but I'm like, I don't want that. I pulled up on a Challenger. I need the 4 doors, and I want a Charger. I don't want a Challenger. I already got that. So he kept saying they got the Hemi that you want and all this and that. I'm like, I don't want the, I want the Hemi, but I need the 4 doors. I said, I want the Hemi, but I want the 4 doors. I need the 4 doors. And so later on, he said, hey, you got a few extra minutes, you know, we can go ahead and test drive the Scat Pack. So first of all, we drove the Challenger, we test drove it. I dropped my wife off at home so she can go to work that evening. So we came back, and then he asked his manager, could I drive the Scat Pack? So he put me in the Scat Pack. And he kept saying, you know, this is your car, got the 4 doors you want, got the Hemi that you want. Even if it's a little more, I will go ahead and get it, because, you know, this is really what you want. So we got back. The guy, he gave me a quote without pulling my credit score. So the price was like $800 a month. I was like, no, they ain't gonna work. So I said, I'm gonna leave. And the guy said, you need to talk it over with your wife for a little while. I said, yeah. So I left, and by the time I got probably about 45 seconds down the road, he called me back saying, we can get you into the $500 price range that we was talking about. So I turned around and went back. So when I went back, I signed all the paperwork saying this is my car. I took the insurance off my Challenger, put it on this one. Took my tags off the Challenger, put it on this one. So at this point, this is my car. I signed my life over to this car. He comes up to me and tells me we can only do you for $608 a month. So I was kind of mad, but I was like, oh, I need to go ahead and think about it, because my wife just called me and she was on the side of the road because of her car troubles, and I'm trying to get to her, but I can't because they got my car keys and I can't go nowhere. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna think about it. So they was like, well, it's impossible now because we took insurance off your car, took the tags off your car and all that. So I'm like, he said, think about it. It's only $20 more a month. First of all, he said $580 a month. Then he said it's gonna be $600 a month. So he said that's $20 more. And then he said add gap insurance, there's only $10 more. I'm like, you saying only this and only that? At the end of the day, I'm paying about an extra $30. And you already told me for the first car note to save some from your last paycheck to add that one. Now I gotta add $30 more. So he said, I can bet you I can show you some money that you didn't know you had. So he said, what's your bills and what's your income? I told him, he said, look, you can afford this car. Get this man paperwork done and stop playing with me. So he went ahead and did the paperwork. So I went ahead and, you know, I took the car. And I feel like they got me because they told me a price that wasn't the actual price. I feel like they had got me because they told me a price that I didn't agree to. And I had agreed to one price and I signed the paperwork, and then they changed the price on me. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I gotta be happy because I got the car that I always wanted. Even though I said the Challenger was my dream car just because the police had got the Charger, I said, you know what? I done seen so many Charger fan clubs and so many Charger groups. So I said, I ain't gonna let that stop me. At the end of the day, I got my Charger, I got my Scat Pack, finally got a V8, so people can't talk about me not having a V8 no more. Because when you get a V6, they will drag you through the mud. I don't care what you do, they is going to drag you through the mud. So on my way home, like, it really hit me, like, I really got this car. In the next few days, I was like, I can't believe I got this car. First of all, when I first started driving, my truck, my mom paid $1,500 for my truck, and now here I am sitting in a $43,000 car. I did it all on my own. I ain't had no co-signer. Like, this right here is all me. Like, this is a proud accomplishment. Like, I am 28. Like, I just turned 28 in November. This is March, and I really got my dream car. And it's a goal that I set out to do, and I did it, even though it's quicker than what I had planned. But, you know, when God said you gotta move, you gotta move. So he took me out of my Challenger, put me in my dream car. Well, that concludes this video of my journey to my dream car. I will see you in the next one. Peace.